Hey everybody, it's Mac here. We're working on completing the square. Right now we're on version C, meaning there was a version A and a B, and there was a video of me doing this over on a whiteboard to help you out. And so what we're going to do is tell you to go to maxtutorials.com, and that's where you can find A and B. And let's just get on completing the square. I've already taught this a bit, so I may explain a little bit less, so please go to those. All right, so now, not everything needs to be done by completing the square. The telltale sign of it can be done by completing the square is you look at that middle number and it's even. If it's odd, don't use this method, okay? It's going to mess you up more than it's going to help you, okay? So step number one is I want you to move this over to this side. Now, as we saw on the last video, sometimes this works out where you don't have to use completing the square, but it's also very possible that your teacher might be asking you to. So we're going to go completing the square on all these problems, whether we needed to or not. Okay, so step number one on this, if we're committed to completing the square, is we're going to make everything, get all of our numbers to the right. Okay, and now I have this little space right there, okay, and I'm going to fill in that space by making a trinomial square, which basically means this. Take half of the middle, which is 2, and square it, which is 4. Add 4. Am I allowed to add 4 to the left? Sure, as long as you also add it to the right. Okay, so now this is in trinomial square form. When I say trinomial square form, what I mean is, first of all, this third term has to be positive. If that was a negative, it's not in trinomial square form. Middle can be positive or negative, doesn't matter. Whatever it is what's going to go in here, right? And then you could take either half the middle or the square root of the third. It'll be the same number. And you just write it in there. Equals 9. Okay, so now this one, I could tell I did not need to use complete the square to solve this. X plus 2 equals plus or minus, what is the square root of 9? 3. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. I'm going to get x equals negative 2 plus or minus 3. Well, if you don't have any square roots, figure it out. What's the negative 2 plus 3? 1. Play the little add a line, change the sign game right there. And what's the negative 2 plus negative 3? Negative 5. Okay? There you go. We solved it by completing the square, even though we didn't need to. Let's go to number 2, okay? I'm going to add 8 to both sides. You could do it below. I just know I'm going to start running out of room. Okay, so x squared minus 2x, that's gone, equals 7. Now, again, what is half of 2? 1. What is 1 squared? 1. All I'm going to do is add 1 to both sides. This is now in trinomial square form. Now remember, you always take the sign of the middle, so that's going to be x minus 1. Quantity squared equals 15. If that freaks you out, I'll just do this super, super quick right over here. Boom, 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 boom. Third term positive, signs are the same. Take the sign of the middle. Factor the third, add to the middle. Boom, boom. Look at that. Okay, so that's just a little reminder of why we're doing this. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Die, die. X minus 1 equals plus or minus root 15. And then I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And when I do that, you write it in front of the plus or minus. 1 plus or minus root 15. And that, my friends, is your final answer. All right, let's keep going. Number 3. Okay, so step number 1 is I'm going to just go minus 46 minus 46. Okay. Boom. And I'm going to get x squared plus 16x, they go away, equals 37? Yeah. Okay. What's half of 16? 4. What's 4 squared? 16. What am I doing? What's half of 16? 8. What is 8 squared? 64. So I'm going to add 64 to both sides. Okay, and I'm going to get myself an x squared, sorry, that's a negative 37, x squared plus 16x. I already have that. I'm not going to just write it again. I'm going to just do it. Go away, go away. Go away. Why won't you die? There we go. Here we go. So now, parentheses, x plus 8 quantity squared equals, I'm going to do a 64 minus 37, and I'm going to get a boom, 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 and I'm going to get a 27 equals 27. Da-da-da-da, sha-da-da-da. X plus 8 equals plus or minus. And can I just do this 27 off on the side here? 3 times 9, 3 times 3. That's going to be a 3 root 3. Okay? Plus or minus 3 root 3. Once I subtract 8 from both sides, I get x equals negative 8 plus or minus 3 root 3. Boom. Okay? Number 4, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So I'm going to get x squared minus 8x, boom, equals 1. What is half of 8? 4. What's 4 squared? 16. So I'm going to add 16 here, and I'm going to add 16 here. And so now this, when I break it down, trinomial square, x minus 4 quantity squared equals 17. We learned all this in the section on radicals. And you always have to write plus or minus whenever you're square rooted at x. Okay? And then boom, jump. X equals 4 plus or minus root 17. And there you go. Okay? Let's go on to number 5 here. I'm going to add 10 to both sides to start. And this is going to give me x squared plus 6x blank equals 9. What is half of 6? 3. What's 3 squared? 9. So now I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And this will give me parentheses x plus 3 quantity squared equals 18. Square root both sides. Boom. And I'm going to get x plus 3 equals plus or minus. I'm going to work out 18 right off here on the side because I know it's going to be something, right? Oh, it's 9 times 2. Hello. And then 3 times 3. So pull out one of these. It's going to be 3 root 2. Subtract 3 from both sides. And I get x equals negative 3 plus or minus 3 root 2. I know these answers look really funky, but I promise you they're correct. Okay, on this one, I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, and I'm going to get x squared minus 10x space equals negative 1. Well, what's half of 10? 5. What's 5 squared? 25. I'm going to add it to the left. I'm going to add it to the right. Now, why did I do that? Because now I'm in the trinomial square form, which is what I'm looking for. Now it's going to be x minus 5 quantity squared equals, and that's going to become a 24. So now, that's going to become an x minus 5 equals plus or minus, let's do it off on the side. That's going to become an 8 times 3. 8 is just 2 times 2 times 2, right? So here's my pair. I'm going to pull out a 2. Root, these are my leftovers, 2 root 6. I have a whole section on radicals that you should go over. That there's a reason why after factoring I went to radicals and then I went to this quadratics, because I knew that these were going to pop up, okay? So do everything that I did in the order on maxtutorials.com, and I think you're going to feel really, really glad that you did. Okay, then I'm not going to teach you some weird thing that you've never seen before. You go, wait, what's that? Here we go, boom. All right, let's go on to number 7 here now. Okay, so let's go ahead and subtract that 36 to both sides. Boom, boom. And I'm going to get x squared plus 14x equals, and that's going to be a negative 27. Okay? So now what's half of 14? 7. What's 7 squared? 49. Add 49 to both sides. Boom. This is in trinomial square form, so I'm going to go x plus 7, quantity squared, equals, and I get a 49 minus a 27, and that's going to become just a 22. Now I'm going to square both sides, boom, die, and I get x plus 7 equals plus or minus root 22. That's 11 times 2. I can't break that down anymore. So now I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides, x equals negative 7 plus or minus root 22. And there you go. Let's go on to number 8 now. Let's go ahead and subtract that 26 from both sides. Boom, x squared minus 12x equals negative 21. Now I did that because it makes it a little bit easier to find that trinomial when you have that blank there. You just take half of the x value, which is 6, square it, and it's 36. So add 36, boom, die. Now that's in the form I want, so I'm going to go x minus 6 quantity squared is going to equal a 15. Now, boom, 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 they die. I'm left with x minus 6 equals plus or minus root 15. Now, if I can just add 6 to both sides, boom, die, x equals 6 plus or minus root 15. Okay, number 9, I'm going to start by subtracting 68 from both sides. Boom, die. X squared plus 18x space equals, now I've got a 68 and a 9. Now that is a negative 68, but I'm going to subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's going to be negative. And once I do that, I'm going to get 59 as my answer, okay? Now, what's half of 18? 9. What's 9 squared? 81. So now I'm going to add 81 to both sides. Once I do that, I get an x plus 9 quantity squared equals, now I get my 81 minus 59. I know my answer is going to be positive because 81's bigger. Boom, 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 and I get 22. 22. Sha-da-da-da, ja-da-da-da, and I get x plus 9 equals plus or minus root 22. And when I subtract 9 from both sides, I end up with just an x equals negative 9 plus or minus root 22. Alrighty, last one. So now I'm going to subtract 82 from both sides. Boom, die. And so now I'm going to get x squared minus 20x equals 82, 9. I'm doing this a little bit late at night, so my brain's not as functioning, so we're going to call that a 73. Negative 73. Now, what's half 20? 10. What's 10 squared? 100. Plus 100 plus 100. Whatever you do on the left, you have to do on the right. This will become an x minus 10 quantity squared equals, and that becomes a 27. Now, once I square root both sides, x minus 10 equals plus or minus root 27. Now, before I do any more, I know if I do 27 off on the side, that's 3 times 9, and that's 3 times 3. So I found a match, and it's going to be, once I add 10 to both sides, I'm going to get x equals 10 plus or minus, instead of 27, I'm going to write 3 root 3. And that, my friends, is the answer. And if you understood that, you understand completing the square, okay? Even if it comes out that you didn't need to, you at least know how to do it if you're asked to do it. Hey, great job on all that. That's a lot of hard work. We got one more way to learn how to do quadratics, and that's the quadratic equation. You do that, you get a gold star. Take care. Bye.